go. We got it. Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention? First of all, I'd like to give you my personal thanks for mine, and I guess Jack Solomon. We worked together to get the room, and let some other people help us do it. Thank you. I guess my job is to introduce Corey Stewart. Corey and I have been political friends, I guess is the right term now, for many years. I'll never forget supporting him at the last convention. We marched, or he did. We were up in the spectator seats, of course, because small county and not contributing accordingly. But we supported Corey, I guess, for 7 ballots in the section I was sitting in. And then Corey comes out with E.W. Jackson and marches around the marina with a big, I guess, 10x6 sign saying support E.W. And we all said, huh? But we followed his lead and voted for E.W. on that ballot, and we all know what the outcome was. E.W. was our lieutenant governor candidate. But Corey is here tonight as a gubernatorial candidate, and I'd like to introduce you to the next Virginia governor, Mr. Corey Stewart.
Well, thank you, Wesley. I always loved Wesley because we had so much. We had a great time. We had a great time in 2013, and I always like coming out to the shore. I just want to thank you. Please give him a round of applause for everything that he's done here for the public. And I also want to recognize a couple of dignitaries here. I want to recognize first Supervisor Paul Muley. Paul. And the GOP Vice Chair for Accomack County and the Planning Commission, Steve Caruso. And of course, in Northampton, we've got the current GOP Chair, Jack Solomon. And I think your dad stepped out, right? Okay. And then I want to thank Franco. I know he's not in the room, but give him a round of applause. And what great music. Great time in this place. Thanks a lot, Wayne. Great show. And finally, Jimmy Kamerick, the 2nd District Vice Chair. Thanks a lot, Jimmy. So, I don't know how many of you saw this, but a few days ago at the White House, and by the way, how happy are you that we finally have a real president of the United States? So, there's this National Governors Association, and by the way, Republicans, we now control 30-some states. And we've got almost complete control of the House, the Senate, the governorships, and of course the presidency. We're in really, really good shape. And there was a National Governors Association meeting at the White House, and President Trump said he recognized Terry McAuliffe and said, would you like to give a toast? And before he gave the microphone to Governor McAuliffe, he said, and by the way, I just destroyed his political career. This really happened. This really happened. Look it up. But how appropriate, because Terry thought he was going to be swimming, he was going to be great, he was going to be there with the President Hillary Clinton and all that stuff, and now the guy, he's done. He's done. He's done. So in 2017, we are going to elect a real governor of Virginia. We need leadership in this state. We really do. In North Carolina, just to our south, their income tax rate in 2010 was 7.75%. Their economy was not very good, and they decided that they were going to put conservative solutions. And by the way, Franco's back in the room. Give Franco a round of applause. They didn't have a lot of economic growth, and they elected, they were very smart. They elected a Republican governor, a Republican legislature, and they have been dropping, they've been ratcheting down their top marginal income tax rate. And it was 7.75% in 2010, and as of January 1st, 2017, the top marginal income tax rate in the state of North Carolina is now 5.49%. And guess where all the jobs are going? They're going to North Carolina. Every single year, the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia, we are losing upwards of 10,000 jobs a year. 10,000 jobs a year to North Carolina, to other states, and in fact overseas, because our tax climate is not conducive to small business. It is the first thing that I am going to do as governor. We are going to begin to phase out the income tax in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And here's why. People like Franco and others, how many small business leaders do we have in here today? I know Don is here and several of you. And how do you pay tax? You pay tax at the personal income tax rate. Most of you are not incorporated. So you pay it at the personal rate. The only way that we can actually provide relief for small business owners, to allow you to make more investments in your company, to keep more of your profits, to hire more employees, to do all of those things, is to reduce the income tax. And as governor, that is what I'm going to do, and we're going to make sure that it happens. Now, the only way we're going to be able to make room for that, by the way, we've got to have guts. Now, a lot of people talk about slashing spending. I've been able to deliver that. I'm the at-large chairman of Prince William County. It's 454,000 residents. It's a bit like being a big city mayor. There's only one elected chairman at-large, and that's myself, and I've done that 4 times. And this is in Northern Virginia. It's a 60-40 Democratic district. I've been able to win it 4 times. In the first budget that I controlled, we slashed spending. We slashed the base budget by $185 million. We brought down average tax bills by $400, which was the biggest cut ever in property tax bills for Prince William County residents. As a result of that, and plus we did one more thing too, because economic growth is really a function of 3 things. 1, it's about low taxes. 2, it's about low regulation. We cut in half the amount of time that it takes to open or expand a business in my county. And 3rd, you've got to provide for adequate public infrastructure. In fact, the government needs to be focused on providing that. And that's what we did. Now, we put a lot of money into roads because we need a lot of roads, more than $300 million worth of our own roads. And by the way, all these years later, we've hired hundreds of new teachers, hundreds of new firefighters and police officers. We've built 20 new schools. We've got 90,000 kids in our school system, $50 million worth of new parks. The average tax bill in Prince William County when I became chairman was $4,141. Today, the average tax bill in Prince William County, after all those investments in our infrastructure and our services, is $4,038. It's lower today than it was when I took office 10 years ago. And that's something that I want to do for all of Virginia. But here's the thing, folks. You have to have adequate public infrastructure. We're building roads, we're building schools, but one thing that we need, and it's not just here, it's throughout large parts of the Commonwealth. And do you know that there's a huge general purpose office space vacancy in Northern Virginia? You know why that is? Because so many business people today, and if you're a white collar worker, you can do your job anywhere in the world, provided that you have what?
Internet.
Broadband access. You have to have broadband. If you don't have broadband, it's very, very difficult. The business is going to think twice about moving into your community if they don't have broadband access. And that's what we have to do. We have to work with the providers, with Verizon, Cox, all the others, and with the last mile providers, work together through regulation and state support. But we need to make sure that there's not an inch, a square inch of ground in the Commonwealth of Virginia that doesn't have access to broadband. We need to make sure that everybody on the Eastern Shore or Southwest Virginia or wherever you're at, we need to make sure that we provide adequate public access to the internet through broadband, and that is just as important as any other public infrastructure. And as governor, I'm going to make sure that we have adequate broadband access here on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So I had a great time today. Wesley and I and Waverly Woods. I don't know if you know Waverly. She's covering this part of the state for me. But we had a great tour of Wallops Island, NASA's Wallops Island facility here. I had no idea just how expansive it was, how many jobs it creates. Just absolutely incredible. And we also had a tour of the brand spanking new 3,000-foot drone launch pad site over there. That is going to create jobs. And we as a Commonwealth, we own, of course, Virginia Space Center and the launch pad there, all that infrastructure that's there. It's so important. It's not just important, by the way, to the Eastern Shore. And in fact, it's not just important to the Commonwealth of Virginia, but in fact, it's important to the national security of the United States. I'm absolutely dedicated to making sure that we provide the necessary public services so that that facility, we should never again lose another contract at Wallops Island. Never again. And the reason we're going to make sure that we don't do it, we need to have adequate public services. In this case, maybe public water, public sewer, so that the Navy, next time any other government agency looks out there, or a contractor like Orbital ATK, they need to know that their employees are going to be able to go out there, they will have adequate housing, and that will bring the jobs and allow for the expansion out there at Wallops Island. I'm going to talk about just a couple more issues that are very near and dear to my heart. The most important of which is we got to bring back growth and economic growth to the Commonwealth of Virginia. But here's another one for you. A couple of weeks ago, I showed up in Charlottesville. And the reason I did, and I showed up there with an activist, his name is Dion, and he's African American, and we showed up at a statue of Robert E. Lee. And the reason we did is because the city of Charlottesville voted to remove a statue of Robert E. Lee that has been there since 1924. 1924. Now, some people think that's not a very important issue. And my opponent on the Republican side, believe it or not, thinks that it's none of his business, that it's a local issue. He's wrong. Every single time that the left has pushed on conservatives for the last 40 to 50 years, we've backed off.
That's right.
They've called us bigots and racists and everything else. But folks, this is our heritage. Robert E. Lee is a Virginia hero. I'm not ashamed to stand up. I wasn't born in this state. But I like to say I got here as quick as I could. Because I love it. I'm very, very proud to live here. I raised my family here. I raised my business here. And I'm proud to be a Virginian. I'm proud of our heritage. I'm proud of our heritage. When I'm governor, I'm going to make sure of this. I'm going to make this promise. And if out there in the city of Charlottesville, I want those constituents to understand. I will not allow you to remove a statue of a single Virginian hero anywhere. And if they happen to remove that statue, by the way, I'm supporting a lawsuit to prevent them from doing that, but if they happen to do it before I'm governor, we're going to pass a law, and I'm going to sign it into law, which will make them pay to restitution and to put that statue back. Because if you think this is about one statue in one city, you're wrong. They're coming after everything, all of our heritage, all of our history. In fact, the members of the City Council of Charlottesville have already made it clear that after they're done with Robert E. Lee, they're coming after Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. It will spread like wildfire, and pretty soon we are going to lose our history. We're going to lose our history in the Commonwealth of Virginia. That we cannot allow to happen. And finally, I want to talk about this. I know you have an issue here with illegal immigrants in your school system. We had a big issue in Prince William County with the illegal aliens in our community in 2007. Now, every other locality that had this issue back then was saying, look, it's a federal issue. There's nothing we can do about it. And at first, I thought that was going to be the case. But we put into place the toughest crackdown on illegal immigration anywhere in the United States in 2007. So far, after implementing that policy, we have handed over to the federal government in Prince William County alone more than 7,500 criminal illegal aliens. The violent crime rate dropped by 48.7% in 3 years. The Washington Post called that a coincidence. Yeah. Not a coincidence, folks. It's a big county with our own fair share of crime, but it dropped significantly. And, you know, it's very easy for these limousine liberals, these champagne socialists, who live in ritzy neighborhoods, and their kids go to private schools, and they don't have to worry about all the problems that most of us have to face. But when your child's in a school where 30 or 40% of the children don't speak English, that makes the teacher's job almost impossible. And that means that your child who's in that school, in that classroom, is not getting the educational opportunities that they should have. And that's why it's absolutely important. This is not a minimal issue. This is a very important issue. That every locality in Virginia, when I'm governor, we are going to take the Prince William County policy, it's called 287G, and it means this. If you commit a crime in our community, we are going to check your immigration status. We don't care what race you are. We don't care what language you speak. We don't care about your ethnicity. We check your immigration status. And if you're here illegally, you serve your sentence, and when you're done, you are deported. That is what we're going to do, not just today, but across the last topic I want to talk about is winnability. My opponent, the only thing he can say about winnability is this, that he ran in 2014, and he came close. Folks, where I came from, when you come close, you lost. You lost. He should have won. 2014 was the biggest Republican tide year in 20 years. We were winning as Republicans all across the country. We won in Illinois. We won in Maryland. We even won in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. Wow. And in Virginia, we lost. That wasn't a coincidence. People are tired of the same old, same old. People are tired of the establishment. They know it when they see it. The same old bland answers. The same old saying nothing about anything, just hitting the talking points. People are tired of it, folks. In Northern Virginia, where I governed 454,000 people, 54% minorities, I've won it 4 times. I know how to win there. I'm the only Republican who's won it since 2009. The last person was Bob McDonald. And I've done it as a conservative. In fact, a very strong conservative. So if you name me as your nominee in 2017 on June the 13th, I promise you this. Not only will I win, because I've proven that I can win in Northern Virginia, but you are going to have the strongest conservative in Virginia for governor that this state has ever seen. We are going to crack down on illegal immigration. We're going to bring jobs back to the Commonwealth. We're going to cut the budget. We're going to reduce taxes. And we're going to make Virginia the greatest state in the United States of America. Thanks, everybody.